Hey guys, Samo here. Thanks for checking out the channel and its contents. And if you feel like it, please do subscribe. Thanks so much. Enjoy the video. Bye.
Hey guys, Samo here. Hope everyone is doing okay kind of these days. Today I just want to talk about a little bit about Lyle Mays. I guess more or less every jazz fan should know about him just a little bit through the Pat Metheny group, but yet I still believe he's very much underrated, should be talked about more. I've done interviews with many players who played with him, from Marc Johnson, especially Marc Johnson. He had the bassist and composer. He had a really beautiful relationship with Lyle, and in an interview I did with Marc, he's just giving a lot of praise to Lyle, and I also added a link to the interview. You can listen to what Marc has to say about Lyle. But Mark Walker, the drummer, also played a lot with Lyle, and Paul McCandless, and all these guys just said beautiful things about this guy, who like I said, still believe is very much underrated, especially also as a composer and band leader. Obviously people know him from the Pat Metheny group. They did amazing, legendary albums together. The late 70s stuff, Pat Metheny group, American Garage, Off Ramp, Travels, First Circle, the David Bowie stuff, The Falcon and the Snowman, all the legendary 80s stuff, Still Life Talking, Letter from Home, which kind of boosted the band, I think, really into stratosphere of popularity, and kind of ending his Pat Metheny group association with The Way Up, which is a masterpiece. And Lyle and Pat obviously wrote all this music, more or less all of it together. And but one aspect of Lyle's playing, which I still believe is many times forgotten, is his band leading. And he did two beautiful albums. He did more, which kind of later were released, and the Ludwigsburg concert as well. But Lyle Mays and Street Dreams, that's are two really beautiful masterpieces of jazz piano, heavily influenced by Keith Jarrett and Bill Evans, I would say, but still they really showcase Lyle's incredible compositional ability. Especially Lyle Mays, the first record, the Alaskan Suite, is beautiful. The band is amazing, with the great, also underrated, Billy Drews on saxophones, and Bill Frisell makes a beautiful statement on this record next to Marc Johnson and None of Us Conquelos and Alex Acuna. And then Street Dreams, 2 years later, another great record for Geffen as well. Some beautiful compositions there, Choriño and August, Street Dreams Suite in the end of the record. And they just showcase Lyle's ability to compose and also to play. And he was such a great improviser, as we know from the incredible Pat Metheny group records. And but these kind of show him even more, of course, because he's the band leader. The band's also amazing on Street Dreams, from Bill Frisell, Marc Johnson, Steve Rodby, Peter Erskine, Steve Gadd appears on one track, and beautiful stuff that every jazz fan should have. But there are also two really important records, I believe, that Lyle made as a sideman, and one of them is definitely Shadows and Light by Joni Mitchell, where Joni kind of gathered basically, half of the Pat Metheny group with Pat and Lyle, adding Jaco on bass, Jaco Pastorius, Don Elias on drums, and then, what can go wrong when you add the great Michael Brecker on saxophone. And it's really a great album to hear what Lyle did in that context. Beautiful colors and beautiful records, of course. I'm a huge Joni fan, so it's like a must-have. But there's one record that kind of maybe can slip under the radar for jazz fans, which is by Eberhard Weber, Later That Evening. If you don't know Eberhard, I think he should also be one of those players where we should devote a video to him. An amazing composer and bass player, played with Ralph Towner, Jan Garbarek, Lyle, Bill Frisell. Basically, he was a staple of the ECM label from mid-70s to kind of 80s, 90s as well. And Later That Evening is a beautiful record from 1982. Amazing players, Lyle is on piano, Bill Frisell again on guitar. It's interesting that Lyle and Bill played really a lot together and worked beautifully, of course. Bill also an incredible listener. And Michael DiPasqua on drums and percussion, and my dear friend Paul McCandless on soprano saxophone, oboe, English horn, and bass clarinet. And really a nice record that I would recommend to everyone. I mean, I would recommend any Eberhardt record because he was such a good composer and bass player. And this is kind of my thoughts on Lyle. I mean, like I said, I have many bootlegs by him. His incredible group from the 90s with the aforementioned Mark Walker, Marc Johnson, and Bob Shepard on saxophone. And that quartet was killing in a live context. Lyle really stretching it out, and it's a shame he didn't do even more stuff as a band leader or as a sideman. But of course, his primary focus was on the Pat Metheny group, I guess. And anyway, let me know what you guys think about Lyle, your thoughts, how you first found out about him. And he was very much under the shadow, in the Pat Metheny group, in my humble opinion, even though such a strong component of that band. Anyway, type some comments. Looking forward to read them, and until the next one. Thanks.